What's up, guys? MC Stu here, and today we're going to talk about the Klingon recruitment event. This is something you're not going to want to miss if you have not participated in this before. So if you're a new player, these generally run once a year around this time. So right now it is February 22nd, and this year's event has started. It'll be running through the 15th. So in this video, we're going to talk about just some of the key benefits to having a Klingon recruit, what it is, and how to go about getting one, and why everybody should grab one if you have not already. So there's some really great rewards that you can get that benefit your entire account, even if you're not real interested in playing, a Klingon or going through the whole storyline. We'll talk about just kind of the bare minimum that you need to do in order to get some of these top tier, unlocks. And if you do like it, then you can go through and continue to play. The story arc is very good. And there's a lot of other benefits that you can get that are account-wide unlocks as well. But we're gonna discuss some of the more major ones. All right, so let's talk about this, how to create one. So right now, you'll notice if you go to your character screen, you will see the Klingon symbol is lit up. That's indicating that there's a special event for the KDF. So if we click on create new character, and if you already have a Klingon, and let's say you started within the last year and you've created a Klingon, you will need to create another one. So you can't make one that you've already created a recruit. So you will have to make a new one. You do that by clicking on new character, and then we're going to want to choose the Klingon faction. You cannot do a Romulan and then align it with the Klingons to be a recruit. It has to be an actual Klingon character. So you'll see when you click on it here, it says down here that we have this event running. It gives the time for how long we have left on that, which I don't know if that really makes sense, guys, because it says 14 days. Is my math just messed up here? Because in the blog post, it has starting on the 22nd and running through the 15th. So I think something might be off there. But in any case, this is just starting today. And today is the 22nd of February, 2023. If you're watching this later on after the fact, these will, again, come up on a yearly basis. And they've announced nothing's really going to change with these, so this video will still be good. So I'm not sure which one of these is right, but you have at least 2 weeks, if not 3, based on the blog post. So I'm sure they'll correct one of those here shortly, and we'll know for sure. So once you select Klingon Defense Force, you're going to hit Next. And what you're going to do then is pick what kind of a race you want. Now, you can pick any of these as long as you've selected the Klingon faction specifically. I personally would recommend going Alien. And you can make your alien look just like a Klingon if you want to, but there's some perks to having that. They have some additional trait slots and some things that are inherent with having an alien. So that's my recommendation. And again, in the tailor, you can change the appearance to make it look however you want. So I picked an alien. I made it look like a Klingon because I wanted it to be themed that way. So you'll continue on through. You can make it male, female, and then you'll just continue through the process, picking, the class and all the other different things. I would also recommend tactical, regardless of what kind of role you're going to play. I have a guide for class and for faction, and I'll put that down in the description so you can check it out. In this instance, the faction is not really an option if you're rolling a Klingon recruit because it will need to be a Klingon character. So I'm not going to go through the whole creation portion. This is pretty self-explanatory. As long as you followed it this far, you can't mess it up. So you'll continue through it. Once you create your character, you'll start a short kind of tutorial. And in the tutorial, you will be approached, and this is something that's a little bit different for the event. So there's an extra cutscene where I think you're on a bird of prey or something like that. You're running around. It's under attack, and you'll be approached by an operative that will give you a device that goes into your inventory. Once you have that device, that is now a Klingon recruit. So if you were, working on something else and you don't really want to go and do this right now, just create the character, play through the tutorial long enough to get that device. It'll take you 20-30 minutes at the maximum, and then you can just come back to it later and finish it whenever you want. But as long as it has that device, it is now a Klingon recruit, and you're grandfathered in and good to go there. So we're going to go ahead and back up a little bit here, and we're just going to jump on to my Klingon recruit. I haven't put a lot of work into this, and we'll talk about a little bit why. because some of the unlocks basically I already had, but we'll talk about that here in a little more detail. So this is my Klingon recruit here, and he's set up as a support tune. You can, like I said, you can use these for whatever you want to. So tactical, tanking, DPS, whatever. And again, refer to the faction and class guide. That'll give you a little more insight into kind of what matters when you're looking at those things. So let's go ahead and jump onto him. Once you create it and you get that module in your inventory, when you go and go to a character, so let me find a different one here. Do I have another Klingon? Well, I have another Klingon, but she's a Delta recruit, and that's what this little icon right here means, that she's a Delta recruit. If I had made a Klingon 3 weeks ago, it wouldn't have this little symbol. And the top one here, Nasty, he is a Klingon recruit, and so he has this little icon here, and that's how you'll know once you get that module in your inventory that he's a grandfathered in, or she's a grandfathered in Klingon recruit. So let's go ahead and jump onto this character here and take a look at why it's a very good idea to get one of these. Now, unconnected to the fact that it's a Klingon recruit, a few years back, prior to a few years back, if you had bought a Klingon ship from the C-store, a Federation character could not fly that, and vice versa. A few years back, they changed it so that any faction can fly any ship, okay, of any other faction. But you either had to buy the unlock from the C-store, so there was an unlock that you could purchase that brought down that wall so you'd have cross-faction flyability of your ships, or if you have a Klingon, and it doesn't have to be a recruit, but just in general, so this is a twofer if you've never ran a Klingon recruit or a Klingon at all, and you're a newer player, just by leveling a Klingon to level 65, that unlocks that cross-faction flyability of ships for free. So that's another good reason to at least level it to max level so that you'll unlock it. And again, that's true with any kind of Klingon character, not Klingon Aligned, but specifically Klingon characters, and is not connected to whether it's a recruit or not. So that's a really nice thing, and it's going to be important with the rewards that you get from the Klingon recruit. So let's take a look in the inventory, and we'll take a look at what the module is. So it's this guy here. And this is the encrypted Klingon receiver is what you're going to get in the tutorial. Once you have this, you are a Klingon recruit. And if we double click on it, we're going to get a dialog box here that has a whole list of objectives to complete. Some of them are storyline based and will give you marks and different kinds of resources. These marks and resources are also claimable on other characters as well. And that's the real nice thing about recruits. So let's say this was your first character ever, right? You just started the game, you rolled it, and you went through, played through the whole storyline, unlocked all of this stuff, and then you decided, hey, I want to do a Federation character, and it's not during a recruit, it's just a regular old character. Once you hit level 20, you would be able to go and reclaim a whole bunch of these resources that you earn from your recruit character. So it's nice to be able to build that up. So if you have, a Delta recruit, if you have a Gamma recruit, if you have a Temporal recruit, the Klingon recruit, when you roll a new character, you can claim from all of those recruits that you have, and you'll find that you'll have just a huge leg up in terms of having marks and dilithium and things in order to be able to get your reps up and all those different kinds of things. So long term, taking advantage of these recruits is very, very good and can really, really help you long term in the game. I'm not going to go through all of these different things. We're just going to kind of talk about some of the individual stuff here. So if you click on whatever the box is, it'll tell you what you would have to do in order to get the reward. And if you hover over the reward, it'll show you what it is. And you can see I don't have a ton of this unlocked. I already had a Klingon character that was level 65, and there was just kind of some specific things that I wanted from this. So I'm just slowly just kind of playing it here and there. All right, so the first and the big one is the ship. So this particular recruit, and this is is the only one that will actually reward you a tier 6 ship. It is a Klingon ship, and you can get it fairly quickly as well. Now, I've already claimed this, so you have to eliminate enemies of the Empire, and so basically you just go through this, and after you kill so many of these enemies, you're going to unlock the ship. It's pretty straightforward. I was able to do it within playing, 5 or 6 missions or so, and you can just easily farm that out and unlock the ship. Now, you'll be able to use this ship on your Klingon recruit or any other Klingon. You could reclaim it. But if you want to claim it on a Federation character, you will either have to have the unlock for the account-wide faction cross-flyability, or you'll need to have one of your Klingons leveled to 65. Now, let's take a look at the ship itself, and let's just kind of see why this is important. The ship itself is okay. If it's your only tier 6 ship, then it's awesome. It will scale with you, so if you roll another character, you can use this from starting off basically at 0, and it'll scale up with you as you rank up and unlock more and more of the ship. So you can use it for leveling. It's very nice. Again, the ship overall is okay. It's definitely not the best ship in the game, but it's very capable and it's a good ship. It's got a cloak. It's got a decent setup. The console setup is nice. You can upgrade it to the X upgrade, and it's a great starter ship, and you can use it in game. So that by itself is really nice to be able to have that. The really important part of this is that because it's a tier 6 ship, it also comes with a trait, and that trait is Withering Barrage. Now you'll see I don't have it unlocked here because I have this trait already from a ship in the C store, and there's quite a few ships in the C store that will give you this trait. And this is one of the most important traits in the game if you're going to run cannons. So cannon scatter volley is probably the highest outputting damage that you can do. It's very thematic depending on the kind of build and faction that you have. If you're into more of kind of that role play or how it looks. But if you want to run cannon scatter volley, you must have Withering Barrage. And what Withering Barrage does is it extends the ability's activation time. So what happens is when you click the ability, it goes on cooldown for 30 seconds before you can use it again, and the effect will run for 10 seconds. Now, as you progress through the game, you'll figure out there's ways to make that ability recharge faster. The maximum, though, that you can recharge any ability in the game is 50%. So for cannon scatter volley firing mode, that would be 15 seconds, but it only runs for 10. And if you have this trait slotted, it fills in that gap with another 4 seconds, giving you only 1 second of downtime with this trait slotted. And that is a huge, huge difference in terms of performance. Prior to this recruit coming out, you would have to buy a $30 ship in order to unlock this, or if it was on sale, it'd be $24 or whatever it is. But still, you'd have to spend some real life money, and it was something you would really need to have if you wanted to have halfway decent damage output playing through the missions, or if you're running TFOs or whatever you're doing. You don't need to be chasing DPS to want something like this. Having your firing modes work more often is just great, regardless of what the situation is. So this is an excellent opportunity, especially for newer players. If you started the game over the last year, 2022, and you didn't do a Klingon recruit, and there's a lot of free-to-play and budget players. I was that for a very, very long time. They didn't have this back then, and I had to save up and buy a ship back in the day in order to get this unlocked. Cannon Scatter Volley is one of the easier ones to use. You can build towards it very quickly once you level up, or even prior to that. So this is a very, very nice trait to have, and you can get it completely for free by having a Klingon recruit, rolling that during this event and playing through some very basic requirements in order to unlock it. It's only on the second unlock on this particular portion of this. So this is, it's nice, and I would highly, highly recommend taking advantage of it. Even if, so on my free-to-play account, I didn't intend on playing my Klingon recruit, but I really wanted this trait, and it's completely free, so I'm really limited on the resources I have. I rely on the year-long events, and there's a lot of stuff that I want, and so this took it right off the table. I rolled the recruit. I played, and through some of the missions, TFOs, patrols, got to level 65 to do the faction unlock, and during that process, I unlocked the ship. I was able to reclaim it on my other characters, and was able to unlock the trait for those other characters. So it's very, very nice. So highly recommend it. Pick up the ship as soon as you can. If you don't have a lot of other traits, I mean, this is number 2 for energy weapons if you're running cannons. First would be emergency power cycles, if you were going to be buying the stuff, but this is free. So definitely take advantage of that. Let's talk about one of the other things that really makes a nice difference here, and it's for endeavors. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think I've done many endeavors here. Let's just scroll through what it's called. This is the Unforgivable. Here it is. Okay, so the Endeavor system in STO, and let me just close that out of the way here, is this system here. And so every day you have some tasks to do. It's kind of like a battle pass kind of a thing, but you don't have to pay for it. So there's a universal one that'll run for a few days, and then you have 3 other tasks that you can complete. And so if we click on this, each of the tasks have a certain amount of Endeavor points that you can earn by completing it. And you can see it here. So the top one for mine today here is complete Borg TFOs, not red alerts, and I think I have to do 3 of them. Yes, and I'll get 8,000 Endeavor points for this. Endeavor points, once you accumulate enough to redeem for a point, you'll click on spend point, and you'll get a random choice of 3 of any of these stats here. This here is huge. So you can see this is my main account. So critical severity for space, I'm getting an extra 42% critical severity in space. That's ridiculous. That's twice as much as what the top, console in the game that gives critical chance will give you. And this is just passive, and it's account wide. And so with a Klingon Recruit, if you use your Klingon Recruit to do your Endeavor system, you'll start to unlock bonuses to where your Klingon Recruit will actually earn you more Endeavor points every time you complete one. So instead of 8,000, you would get 8,000 plus whatever the boost is. And so as you start to go through these, and we can see where I'm at here. So I've almost unlocked this one. I haven't been focusing on it, and I really should, because this would help me out quite a bit in upping my overall Endeavor rank. But the main kind of milestones here is on number, 4. When you complete this one here, it is going to give you an account-wide unlock or boost. So now any of your characters that you're doing endeavors on are going to get a plus 5% to that expertise in order to get your endeavor points up. At the maximum, you'll get a 10% unlock. Once you get to the maximum, if you didn't really want to be playing your Klingon Recruit, then you could just play any of the characters on your account, and they would get the same kind of a bonus that the Klingon Recruit had been getting up until this point. So at the 4th tier and the 6th tier is where you'll start to unlock those account-wide boosts. And these, over the long term, are massive. I really kind of slacked on my endeavors. I'm only at 306, and there's quite a bit more than that, more than double. I've really focused on the things that kind of matter to me. You don't have a lot of control because you just get a 3 random rolls when you go to select one when you have a point to spend. But you still can, pick whatever you want out of those 3. And if you really kind of focus on certain things over time, those things will go up. And these stats are massive. I mean, this is huge. There's not another console in the game that gives you almost 10%. And at its maximum, it's much higher than that. So these are something that you really want to work towards. And, if you're just starting out, a Klingon Recruit is going to help you progress through that very, very quickly. And, if you're at 0, don't feel too bad. I mean, I'm less than halfway through it. And there's other people that have been maxed for a long time, and I'm still getting lots and lots of benefits from it. So even if you start, getting up to, 50, 100, 150, that's going to have a pretty influential, impact on your overall account, all the characters that are on it. And by using that Klingon Recruit, you're going to be able to accumulate those points much, much faster. All right, well, I think that covers the main things. So the ship and the boost, there are quite a few other, nice things that you can get from this. So there's different bathlets that will unlock for like melee kills. They're really cool to collect. I think the top end one, what does that give us? That gives us a ground trait. There's just all kinds of stuff. And if you just kind of click through, all the different things, there's all these different kind of rewards. And like I said before, the nice thing is these are all reclaimable. So if you started off as a Fed, like I did, most people do, we love the Feddy side, playing on your Klingon Recruit's not going to just all be for the Klingon. I mean, this really helps your entire account. And that's what's so nice about these recruits. So make sure you take advantage of this. Again, this comes up in the first quarter, basically, of every year, February. So again, if you're watching this later on, the same stuff is going to apply. It's highly unlikely they would change anything on this. If they did, I would let you guys know in another video and mark this one that it's out of date. But generally, after these are made, unless they make some major changes to like missions that affected how you get some of the objectives for your recruits, nothing's going to change there. And if it does, it's generally like locations of where some of these objectives are. So again, guys, I can't stress, especially if you're a newer player, if you just never ran one, if you're a budget player, if you're a free to play, this is your jam. Okay, it's a free tier 6 ship with a very, very good trait. Up until these were available, we all paid money for them. Because if you're going to run cannon scatter volley and you're wanting to push that even a little bit, you really need that trait. And now we can get it for free. So take full advantage of this, guys. Let me know what you think. If you've had and already rolled these have been out for I think about 2 years. I want to say. I think this is the third or fourth time that they've ran these, maybe 2-3 years. But there's quite a few people that skipped them, and there's always new people coming into the game. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware on this. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to roll one? Are you excited to be able to get this free ship? If you've already got it, let me know if you're using it, what you're doing with it, and what you're focusing on with your recruits. But for farming out those Endeavor points, being able to get those account-wide unlocks, you really can't beat any of the recruits really. But this one I think is the best. You get the best kind of value out of it, at least in terms of the ship and those kinds of things. So, all right, guys, that covers it for now. If you have questions, put them down in the comments. Join the Discord server. If you're new and you need help or whatever, go in the Discord server, ask questions. We're all more than happy to help you out. There's over 2,000 people in it. Everybody is totally cool and nice. If they're not, they get booted. So as long as you're nice, you're welcome, and we're more than happy to help you out. All right, guys, until next time, I appreciate you watching. Have a good one. Hey, guys, appreciate you watching. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, ring the bell, and sub to the channel for the latest news updates and how-to guides.